Welcome back to BaldHeaded Metal, guys, and welcome back to another Megadeth reaction with their third single from the new album, Soldier On. I've reacted to the past two singles as a Megadeth fan myself, and I wasn't really impressed with them. I thought there was something there that was interesting, but it didn't really grab my attention. Let's see how this one really does. Let's see if it does the same thing to me. Perhaps it might actually capture me. I'm looking forward to it because Megadeth is Megadeth, and I love them. No matter what they produce, it's just kind of, I'm already a fan of the band. I like their older albums. With that being said, let's get into the reaction without any further ado.
No reason left for living all alone, and dying unforgiven with unforgiven foes. The years and the dread years, they were all throughout your life. The road was soon your mistress, and the stage became your wife. Oh, marching off to war, everyone can see they're paralyzed with fear. They get down on their knees and pray. Of all the battles won and lost, the lives and treasures that it cost, I know I got to soldier on. Watching mankind destroy itself, walk straight into the mouth of hell. I know I got to soldier on. No reason.
I gotta say, this might be the least favorite of the singles so far. Not that I like the other two. It just feels limp. I don't know how else to describe it. It just doesn't have the fire anymore. And it's like with each album that became the case. And you know, it's not because it's not heavy. I know there's fans that came out with the previous two songs that were saying, "What are you talking about? This is some of the most old school Megadeth we've heard thus far in like many years since the 90s." And I disagree with you guys. I think Countdown to Extinction had more impact. And it's not because it's not as fast as Rust in Peace or Peace Sells. I like Cryptic Writings. I think Cryptic Writings was a great album. It had great songs. It was well written. This is just, I don't know. Just feels half-assed for Megadeth. And I'm trying to find like a nicer way of saying it, but it's just, it's past the time of this band, unfortunately. I know there's going to be newer fans that's going to jump on this and they're probably going to love it. I'm sure there's fans that don't like Rust in Peace and they like their other albums. I don't know who that is, but I'm sure somebody like that exists. It's just Megadeth was this pinnacle of thrash metal. And after Risk especially, it's just this band, I don't think they ever recovered from that particular album. It also reminds me, a band is not just a member who writes the music. The band members play such a big role. And Marty Friedman, Nick Manza, Dave with his crazy stuff that happened to him, still they were good musicians and they were the right setup for Megadeth. And I think after that legendary lineup, for me, they were just never the same.
Left for dying to be right. Days living unforgiven and unforgiven nights. The lean years and the mean years, they were all throughout your life. 2 steps forward and 2 steps back, you're out of time. Oh no. Marching off to war, everyone can see they're paralyzed with fear.
I'll be honest, that second part of the song, well, the middle part of the song, was a lot better with the solo, with a little change up. It just had something going. Okay, that I will admit and take a step back that was actually pretty cool. I think what I'm not liking is the chorus, which just keeps repeating on and on and on, and the lyrics are just not doing it for me. It's just what I want to bring as an example so you guys know what I'm talking about. Just think about Peace Cells, the impact of the lyrics, the impact of the song. Think about Holy Wars. Again, Holy Wars is probably the best Megadeth song, period. It's arguable, but it's just the amount of solos, the amount of riffage that switch from Holy Wars into that Punisher moment. It's just, there's so much that Dave was able to do in the early part of his career that this to me feels okay. And I liked the past Super Collider. Those like songs I liked on the albums, but I ultimately never really come back to those albums after a couple of months when it comes out. I have a feeling this is going to be the same case with this album. Whereas the older albums, just like the old Metallica albums, I keep coming back to those. And from the example I'd like to use is bands who are still quite hungry, just never made it to this stardom. Testament, Overkill, Exodus. I mean, I think you can argue about perhaps the style of writing. Perhaps you'd like Megadeth's style of writing more, but they just have the hunger in their music, in my opinion. Does it always work in their favor? Was every song on Persona non grata great? I don't think so, but it had more of an impact on as a thrash record to me than whatever Megadeth has become. Which, for those who don't mind it, it's a different story. You like Dave Mustaine and everything he does as a musician. It's a different story. I'm coming it from like a thrash head perspective and just getting this kind of remnants of what this band used to be. And I think it really started with Countdown to Extinction, which still was a good album, but definitely that was the kind of the black album for Megadeth.
Marching off to war, everyone can see they're paralyzed with fear. They get down on their knees and pray. Of all the battles won and lost, the lives and treasures that it cost, I know I got to soldier on. Watching mankind destroy itself, walk straight into the mouth of hell. I know I got to soldier on. Of all the battles won and lost, the lives and treasures that it cost, I know I got to soldier on. Watching mankind destroy itself, walk straight into the mouth of hell. I know I got to soldier on. Or run in the morning air. I got no job, but I got long hair.
That's the best part of the song.
Waiting back at home. I got no woman waiting back at home. I got all I need, I just soldier on.
Yeah, I think it's been the case with a lot of bands. You know, I'm not going to single out Megadeth. I felt like that with Hardwired to Self-Destruct. I felt like that with Slayer, which is one of my favorite bands of all time. Last 2 or 3 albums were just trash before they retired. The last album had a couple of good songs. Amon Amarth, a band I love. I listened to the latest album, and it's just, there's some good songs in there. It just doesn't. I don't know if it's. I'm only 35 years old, guys. I don't know if it's age that at a certain point in time you just don't have the same fire or desire to create the music. You run out of ideas. You run your course as a band. I don't know what it is that causes bands to get to this point, but it seems to happen with 80% of them. In my opinion, Judas Priest and Iron Maiden have kept a relatively high level. They repeat kind of what they are. They don't innovate. I mean, Judas Priest tried with Nostradamus, and it was a kind of an experimental thing. But generally speaking, both of those bands just kind of stick to what they know and stick to their guns and just produce, I think, what is better music than this on the level of hierarchy in Iron Maiden's pantheon, Judas Priest pantheon. And then there's bands who, even in their 50s and 60s, because they just never reached that level of fame, they've always had that hunger for the music. It's because they never had the monetary kind of reward that like Megadeth has had to just kind of relax. They've always had to work outside of metal and do things. And I think those bands tend to hold on to a little bit more fire than the more successful bands. Of course, that's not across the board. I would say generally speaking. I would love to hear from fans as well. Kind of, where do you guys disagree? Where do you guys agree? Why, if you like the song, why? Why? What is it about Megadeth's style now that you still enjoy about it? You know. That being said, hopefully you guys enjoyed the reaction, and make sure to take care of yourselves. Stay safe out there and keep it metal.